To make a difference to your process, the first thing and the most important thing is to really understand what the process is. Because we think we know what the process is, but as soon as you just document a very simple process, making a cup of tea is a process. If you document how to make a cup of tea, you'll suddenly see there's lots of variation and people see things differently. So let's document the process, and we use a very simple template to try and document that into sort of the big ticket areas, if you like, so we're not getting it too complex. And once we've done that, we've got how the work flows through a process. So for example, yesterday I was working with a garden landscaping company, and what do is they go out and landscape gardens. But the process to that is you've got to get the van to site, you've got to fill the van. When you get there, you've got to make sure that you're doing the correct job. So you've got to make sure that everything is in its place. So when we did our process flow on this, we picked the big ticket items, and then we found out how did it actually work. So in this particular business, they studied this over a 2-week period. They came to one of the improvement workshops, picked up the template, took it back, applied it in the workplace, actually doing the job. And that's important because you've got to walk the process, understand the process, and be very particular about not just assuming that everybody understands this is how it gets done. And then when we start doing that, we found, the van wasn't loaded correctly. So we had to nip back to get some extra tools. And that might be 30 minutes. If that happens in every job, across a team of people, you could be losing 10, 20 hours a week. If you're losing 10, 20 hours a week, what I always say to people is, annualize the cost of that. If that's a typical week, suddenly you're losing hundreds and hundreds of hours, and the value of that is enormous. So when people see this, they're often surprised about how much waste there is, because when you're doing it in the zone, if you like, you just get used to it and you don't see the inefficiency. You've got to take the step back. That's what the improvement program gets us to do, to take the step back. And once you start to measure these activities, you tend to find one area where there's a large amount of waste. So we prioritize. And in the particular example that I talked about with the landscaping, the example here was about they have to get a process in place to take photographs at the start of the job and at the end of the job, because that's very important to how we build the customer. And that wasn't being done properly, and there's a lot of waste in there. And as a result of that, by coming on the program, they've now put in what I call an SOP. That's a standard operational procedure, but that means that'll be consistency. So it's done the same no matter what the team are. Think of it this way. When you go into McDonald's for your burger, for your breakfast, you get the same stuff every time you go there. Whether you're in Manchester, whether you're in Jersey, whether you're in Newcastle, whether you're in America. That is because the process is consistent. They've broken that down to look at every part of the process to understand exactly what needs to be done and make it standardized. And people need things to be standardized so they know exactly what they're getting. No matter what type of business you are, because I'm working with law firms, I'm working with people in the tourism sector, we're working with the social enterprise sector, we're working with the post office, we're working with the bus service, we're working with asset management companies. What a diverse range of businesses. You know what? They've all been in the same room, they've all followed the same template, and they've all got value from it because they all see things, what they can improve upon once they break it down into sizable chunks. I like to see that as improving quality. If you improve the quality of what you do in your supply chain from a customer perspective, you want to set yourself good measures of efficiency around what you do, so you need to expect that from your supply chain. What I say is don't accept poor performance. Once you accept poor performance, you get used to it, it becomes the norm. So set the standards high, but work with people to say you're not criticizing what the supply is like, you are criticizing the process. And you do that by the example we saw with the landscaping company, is by analyzing what really happened. People often moan and groan to themselves about problems, and then they moan to the wrong people. And then that makes them grumpy. And then grumpy people aren't very efficient, are they? So I think happy people are efficient. So the template works as a type of therapy. People actually enjoy doing them. But the output then is the why. We always have a list of opportunities for improvement, and they can be very, very small things, but collectively they have massive gains.